Alright, so we're going to continue on with some CSS tricks that make our site look really good. And so where we left off now, your website should look something like this. All right, let me just drag this over here. So it should look something like this. We did box shadows, we lined up the images, and yeah, it looks alright, but there's still a lot more we can do. The most horrendous thing on this site is this terrible, terrible, terrible navigation. So that's what I'm going to fix up first. So let's just leave this here, and I want to open up my index. Actually, I won't need to mess with any of my HTML at all, right? This is all ready to go. What I want to mess with is Sublime. I want to mess with the main CSS. Actually, I'm going to open this up as well so we can see both of them. But I don't need two of those open at the same time. That's just ridiculous. Okay. So where I'm going to be working is these three sections, all right? So I'm going to be messing with the header, the navigation, the unordered list inside the navigation, and then each individual list item. Now each one of those levels, if I change it, it will affect a new part of it. If you look, so the header is the full thing all the way around. It has the border around it. Navigation is a little bit on the inside of it. Let's see here, if I can just change something here real quick. If I can just do nav and change its let me just play around here real quick. So what I did there real quick, just to kind of show the difference, my header has the background color of that yellow, and I just changed it so we can see the navigation has the background color of that blue, and each of the unordered list items is red, and then each list item inside of that is purple. So you can kind of see what's going on here. Our navigation is a little bit inside there, has a little bit of cushion on each side, and the red is this entire area, and then the purple superseded that. I'm going to show you something here about padding. So if I want to add a little bit more padding in my navigation, what padding does is, you see how home is jammed up against that top of that purple? If I want to give it a little bit of room, I can add a little bit of padding. Now I'm going to put 4 numbers here. And we're going to see what each of them do. If they're all zeroed out, not much of a change. If I change the first one to, let's say, 20 pixels, see if we can spot the difference. You can see here that now my navigation, which is the color blue, it gave myself 20 pixels of room above it, right? And I could do 20 pixels in this one. And guess where that's going to put the 20 pixels of space? Right there to the right. So what padding does is it creates stuff on the inside. So my navigation goes all the way to the edge of this blue, and padding offers a little bit of cushion in between it. So this controls the top, and then this controls the right. And you can imagine this one controls the bottom now. And then the only thing left is the one on the left. So we can put a little bit of cushion around. Now, so padding, you saw that the header itself didn't get any bigger, right? What it did was it put room on the inside. Padding's on the inside. If I want to push this image away from my header, if I want to give myself a little bit of room, I don't do that with padding. What I do, so if I try it with padding, if I want to add a little bit of room on the bottom, so 0 is the top, 0 is the right, this 0 is the bottom. If I try to put 30 pixels of padding there, watch what happens. It pushes the header down and adds a little bit of room on the inside of my header. But I want to push that thing away, that picture away from it. So I don't want padding in that case. In that case, I want what's called margin. So margin will give myself a little bit of room in between there. Okay. Well, in terms of making my site look less ugly, I've taken a couple steps backwards with this color coding thing, but just to try to show you what the different items are doing. If you're ever stuck, just plugging in those colors so you can see what's being controlled is like a huge help. So I'm going to get rid of all this, and let's do some coding, right? And I'm going to keep that. I kind of like that. Okay, where was I? What was I going to do? Okay, so the first thing I want to do is, you see how this is underlined? I want to get rid of that. So right now my anchor tag is underlined. And remember, the anchor tag are the things that take you to the different pages. So if I want to change my anchor tags, that's how I do it. And I'm just going to do this, text decoration, and I'm going to put none. Right? Remember, check W3 Schools. There's more things that you can do with this tag. The next thing I want to mess with is, and this will be the first time that we've ever done this, right? So just pay attention to the kind of nuance here. I could call upon this unordered list and make all sorts of changes, right? But that would control this unordered list and every other unordered list I have in my program. So if I want to just control this unordered list, I can be more specific. So I can say, you know that unordered list I was talking about? And the website may say, there's multiple. And I'd say, oh, the one in the navigation. So this will look for anywhere that I have in the navigation sign, all the unordered lists that are inside of that. So it goes into the HTML and says, okay, here's your navigation. We're looking for the unordered lists inside of that. So it'll only affect this. If I had an unordered list down here, it wouldn't affect it. Okay. So let's take a look at this unordered list. I'm going to do some stuff to it. Let's do a little bit of margin. I'm going to show you a different way to do margin here. I'm going to go 0 and 10 pixels. Last time I did 4. This one stood for the top, right, bottom, left. Now this one, like you're going, that's clockwise, starting at 12 o'clock. Now this one, if you only tell the CSS 2 values, the first one covers top and bottom. The second one covers left and right. So this is top and bottom, left and right. If you just put one value in there, it says, okay, this is for all of the values. So I'm going to do just that. So let's look what those 2 changes did for us. We got rid of the underline and gave ourselves a little bit of room. Right? All right, let's see here. Now what I want to do is each one of these little list items, I want to control a little bit. The very first thing is I hate the way that they're stacked. So in the navigation, I want to talk about each list item. That's going to be important that we call it the nav list items, because we're soon going to have multiple lists in our page, and we don't want all of them to change just because we want our navigation ones to change. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to put each one of those list items in an inline block. Nice. So now they're straight across. Problem is they're all jammed in there tight together. Not so sure how much I like that. So I'm going to do a little bit of work there. Let's say for each of those list items, I want to, well, let's imagine we're the home one, right? I don't like the fact that recipe is that close to me. So my home wants to push recipe away from me. So to give myself a little bit of room here, I wouldn't want to use padding, because padding would increase the room around home. What I want to do is push things away. So to clear a little space without changing the size of things, I want to do margin. So I could do a little bit of margin up and down, right? Let's see here. So if I did margin like this, I could do like 5 pixels, and then let's do 5 pixels up on top, and let's do 5% on the sides, and just kind of see how that looks. You saw the box kind of expand, so I got a little bit of room here, and you notice that 5% of the page is here, 5% of it's here, 5% of it's there, and so on and so forth, right? So each one of these is 5% of the room, right? Another thing you can do too is if you right click and then do inspect element, get bigger so we can see. Wish this was smaller. Cool. Okay. All right. Whoa. Okay. So when you look at this thing, sorry, that was ridiculous. When you look at this thing, you can see when I hover over the list item itself, you see how it goes. God, this is too zoomed in to care about. You know, anyway, on your browser, maybe it's not acting as weird as I am, but you see how you can just barely see it in there. See how it highlights orange? Well, now it's telling me how big the list item is, and you can see where it's being captured on each one of them, right? So the orange tells you where the margin is. If you look down here, you can see the orange is where it can tell you where the margin values are. So you can see what's being pushed and why something won't go where it's supposed to go. It's a really helpful tool. Now my issue is this is not very lined up. So I want a little bit of more room there. So instead of doing 5%, and I want to give a little bit more room up here. So I'm going to do, let's do 10 pixels, and I'm going to do, let's call it 11%. Now I could do all sorts of fancy math and figure out exactly where the centering point is, or you could do guess and check. Math is quicker, but I don't know. Guess and check is it's very nice that when you can get it without writing down anything, and I don't know, it keeps you coming back. A couple other little tricks I want to show you, and this is going to go back to the unordered the HTML. So go into your HTML and let's hop into our footer. So in the footer, I'm going to just paste this real quick. This is a line of code I took from somewhere else. Let me just make this look all spiffy for us. Okay. Oh, Control Z, where are you? Thank you. So these two things are very special Ahref anchor tags, right? If you do it like this, you'll see that the reference is mail to, and then I put my email address, right? Have you ever noticed that when you are on a mobile device, it somehow knows, like if you like look it up like a restaurant, like right, I want to get pizza, and you like look up a pizza place and you click their number, it's a link, but it's a link that automatically knows like, oh, this is a phone number, start dialing. Well, this is the way that you do that. You can click on someone's email address and they say, okay, let's automatically start making an email out of this. Well, this is the way that you call that out. So this is going to be huge when we start creating a website for a mobile platform. This is the way we change it so it automatically goes to a mail thing, and this is the way that we change it so it automatically goes to a telephone number. So you look down here. Oh, I guess it doesn't like my copy and pasting. So I'll do, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 6, 5. I thought you guessed the pattern, didn't you? Okay, let's do a little save here and a little refresh here. I have no idea. Did I know? Oh, I didn't replace that, I guess. Why are you being so weird, computer? Okay, whatever. I'm not gonna lose any sleep over it. Anyway, you'll notice that this unordered list looks terrible because it's not being called upon, because this unordered list is only for the navigation. So we're going to have a very complex website, and naming things very specifically is going to be a huge help in being able, in our ability to differentiate our website. If every time I add an unordered list, it automatically went to this, that'd be a huge bummer and a big waste of my time. So being specific is going to be a huge help.